girl with a preppy vibe. Came to the spot with a friend of mine. She caught my eye. From the beginning, I was hooked. I can't tell a lie. Fresh, dressed, and fly. I respect her mind. Some dudes find it impressed, but looking goofy at the same time. He bugging, she looking. I'm going for mine. Confidently, I approach with that eye-to-eye contact. She smiling while adjusting her hair, so I smile back. Pretty girl, what's your name? She said, is that true? Cause if it is, your name perfect for you. My name handsome. She said your name fits you too. See, we was clicking, and after that, time just flew. Then that time came to talk to her pops. He gave his blessing. And then that mind frame I had was honoring and protecting. I knew she was the one when we met. I found my future girl, and no other woman compares to my girl.
Hey y'all, happy snow day. How are you guys faring during this winter storm? I'm doing pretty good. It's snowing outside right now. I'm not sure how much snow we have here in the DMV where I'm at, but it's been snowing pretty consistently for like the last few hours. Like it kind of starts and stops. It has stuck, if you will. When I woke up this morning, I saw the people out there. They were out there shoveling the walkways and things like that. So that was pretty cool. But it snowed some more, right? So guess what? That snow has it's back built up. So I'm sure once everything kind of stops later this evening, then tomorrow they'll probably be able to go ahead and get it cleared out and get us back really operational. So yes, we have that going on here. I see where they have like a site on YouTube where this person is like driving around the DMV with like I want to say they have like their camera on the dashboard, like looking out as they're driving around, um, showing us the roads and whatnot, wherever they are in this area. So that's pretty interesting. But yes, y'all, that's what's going on so far. Oh yeah. That is what is going on so far, y'all, out here. So we have Lou here saying, "Where them fans at?" Hey, how you doing, Lou? How are things going for you where you're located? I was just saying that out here, um, it's been snowing since about 1 a.m. and they were out here this morning, like shoveling the sidewalks, things like that. But it snowed some more, so it's kind of like built back up, right? And I saw that they have this channel called I don't know, something about DMV road live on the road or whatever. And so they're like showing us how the roads are in different parts of the DMV. So I don't know if I would want to go out there doing that. I'm assuming they have like a camera or something on their dashboard, and they're just like letting it just stream as they're driving around, showing us all this stuff. So yes. So we got Lou saying hello. Hey there. I think you changed their profile picture, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I'm trying to type on this tablet here. Give me 1 second. But yeah, you said like, share, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, if we for those who are here, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate that. And he said it's very cold over here. Yes, it is cold. I'm not sure. Let me see what the temperature is here because I'm sure it's down. Maybe it's gonna be real low. Let's see. Not sure about single digits. Oh, it's 23 degrees, but feels like 11 degrees according to the weather forecast here where I'm at. And so yeah, um, as you can tell, I got my soft clothes. I'm gonna be up in the house all day. I don't plan on going anywhere until maybe Tuesday at the earliest. So yeah, I got all of my food. Like I told you, I got stocked up on food and wine. I'm good to go, right? So, yeah, so I'm glad you guys are here for our little snow live today. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about some things I didn't get to hit on yesterday at last night's live stream. So, the first thing is, I'm sure you guys may have known or saw where there was another fatality in Minnesota um, regarding all this immigration type stuff, right? And so, there's been a total of three people that have been, harmed with all this, but there's been two fatalities. I think the second person ended up getting hit in the leg and they survived or whatever, right? So let's go ahead and kind of get into that. Um, yeah, let's do that real quick. Here we go.
Cell phone video shows the moments leading up to the shooting. A federal agent pushes a person to the ground and pepper sprays them. Then more officers converge and wrestle a man to the ground, appearing to hit him before at least one agent opens fire and kills the man. The backlash was swift. Law enforcement officers used pepper balls and flashbangs against protesters gathered at the scene.
It's actually hard to breathe right now. It's both a combination of the pepper spray that was used by agents to disperse the crowd where that shooting took place and the literal dumpster fire that is spewing black smoke into the street.
I didn't know him.
Ella Brettenfeld was among the protesters.
The system isn't working. It's killing people in our streets. It's killing our neighbors. It's injuring people. It's traumatizing children.
An outraged Governor Tim Walz said the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation.
Thank God we have video, because according to DHS, these 7 heroic guys took an onslaught of a battalion against them or something. It's nonsense, people. It is nonsense and it's lies.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem claimed, without offering evidence, that the victim was responsible for the confrontation.
He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to perpetuate violence.
The Department of Homeland Security claims the man approached officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun and violently resisted arrest. CBS News has identified the man as 37-year-old Alex Pretti, a Minneapolis resident and an American citizen. Minneapolis police say he had a valid permit to carry a gun.
This is just the latest in a string of incidents that have sparked outrage and intense scrutiny into federal tactics, including the detention of at least 2 young children. And much like the case of Renee Good, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension say they are being blocked from this investigation. Lana Zach, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Okay, y'all. So that was a
We
lot.
have breaking news tonight.
Hold on. That was a lot right there. So apparently the gentleman that ended up, passing away was out there with a firearm, but he was licensed to carry, I guess, a concealed weapon. But I guess, I don't know. Would you guys go out there to a protest with a firearm, even if you are licensed to, carry a concealed weapon? Because at the end of the day, with all that going on, all that commotion going on out there, those people aren't going to be asking you, well, hey, sir, can I see your license or whatever? They're going to be like, you know what? We're in a high stress environment. They're going to go ahead and do what they need to do, and it's going to be over with. As what happened here. So you don't get a second chance at it. So I guess my point is, and I'm not trying to victim blame, but why would you go out there to this type of event knowing what has been going on at these protests over the last few weeks, knowing that the lady Renee, was unalived, the other person got, hit in the leg. Like, why would you go out there with that? First of all, I wouldn't be going out there anyway. I feel like you can probably be more effective at home and, doing what you need to do with your congressman and whoever else, figuring out ways like that, opposed to being out there with these folks with these weapons that at this point it's either you or them, and they're going to make sure they get home at night. You may not get there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they out there with the dumpster fires. Like, I don't know if they're just doing that to keep warm, but if it's that cold outside, like, I don't understand. I don't get. I understand peaceful protest. This doesn't seem to be a peaceful protest when you have this many people around here being harmed. Now, when they had the civil rights movement and they had the peaceful protests, I guess I wasn't around then, but I don't recall hearing like this level of harm being done. There was harm done, don't get me wrong, but not quite what I'm hearing with this Minneapolis thing. But yeah, for those who, I get that people want to show their support and they want to do all these things, but at the same time, you want to be around to continue to do those things that you want to do and support, if that makes sense. So Lou says negative, and he says, don't let a bad day be your last day. You can have plenty of bad days, but you only get one last day. And you're right. You're 100% correct. Because I remember hearing on one of the outlets that his family told him that he needed to be careful if he's going to be out there doing these protests and whatnot. And he said that he would be. And yeah, I think they said he was trying to help this woman that the ICE people were dealing with. I don't know what the story was, but I'm not going to speak on it. But we'll just go ahead on to this next video real quick. Let's get into it. Well, I want to just go ahead and play. Yeah, what is it doing? Y'all, this is crazy.
Night out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Federal officers have shot and killed another person during an immigration enforcement crackdown. We've learned today's victim, Alex Pretti, graduated from Green Bay's Preble High School. Fox 11 is covering this story from every angle, and we will give you an even-handed look tonight. Our balanced coverage begins with the facts that we've learned. A U.S. Border Patrol officer shot and killed a man around 9 o'clock this morning in South Minneapolis. The Department of Homeland Security says federal officers were conducting a targeted operation. DHS says an officer fired several shots after a man with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun approached officers and violently resisted when they tried to disarm him. However, witness video stands in contrast with that DHS statement. The victim's parents have identified him as 37-year-old Alex Pretti and say he's a legal U.S. citizen. They say he owned a handgun and a permit to carry a concealed weapon in Minnesota. Minnesota is an open carry state.
Okay, so the first thing they said here was that they are painting the picture. This man walked up on the ICE agents in the middle of an official business, and they tried to disarm him. So you see how they're painting this narrative of the initial interaction here. Okay. So take notice of that. Now, they did say that he was 37-year-old, Alex Pretti. He had a permit to carry, all those things. Minnesota is an open carry state. They made sure to point all that out. Let's continue this. This thing.
The Border Patrol officer has not yet been identified. We'll have more on what we have learned about Pretti and the officer in a moment. But first, we'll take you through witness videos of this shooting. And a warning, some may find this video disturbing.
Chaos today in South Minneapolis, all of it captured by bystanders on video.
They're whistling.
People.
Here's a breakdown of those clips. An ICE agent shoves a woman and pepper sprays Alex Pretti. While holding on to the woman who was shoved, Pretti is then taken to the ground by agents and swarmed. From this angle, an agent appears to take Pretti's handgun before any shots were fired. However, that has not been officially confirmed. Moments later, agents fire what sounds like 10 shots in rapid succession as Pretti is on the ground. Here's another view.
They killed him? Did they kill that guy? Are you kidding me, dude? Not again.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said during a news conference later Saturday that Pretti had shown up to, quote, impede a law enforcement operation. She questioned why he was armed, but did not offer details about whether Pretti drew the weapon or brandished it at officers. Meanwhile, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is demanding federal forces to leave the city. Tonight, we bring you both sides.
This individual showed up to impede a law enforcement operation and assaulted our officers. They responded according to their training and took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him.
Minnesota and our local law enforcement, as you have seen, have done everything possible to de-escalate. Local media has reported extensively on the cooperation to de-escalate this situation. Donald Trump, I call on you once again, remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence.
In a statement, Alex Pretti's parents say they are heartbroken, but they're also very angry about the situation. He graduated from Preble High School 20 years ago and had participated in protests following.
Hold on. So the gentleman, I don't know if he's the governor or the mayor, but he was asking Trump to remove the ICE agents from Minnesota. I highly doubt if Trump is going to remove these ICE agents from Minnesota. I don't, at some point he will, but he's going to do it when he thinks it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing I think would be to tell the people of Minnesota, like, look, y'all, I understand that you guys want to protest and you want to, have a voice and do these things, but for your own safety, you may want to stay at home. You may want to work with your congressman, your mayor, whoever, to figure out other ways to, get these folks out of the area. Because at the end of the day, and I see your comment, Mr. Jason Beatrice, welcome to the live stream. Like you're saying here, he's dead now. And for what? That's what I'm saying. I don't want anybody to think that I don't think people should be able to, voice their opinion and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when you're gone, then what? That's my point. So figure out other ways to get your voice made heard without having to put yourself in harm's way. It's kind of what I'm getting at with it. But yeah, that's a great comment, Jason Beeps. I appreciate that. Lou says it appears from the video it was concealed. Okay. And Lou says, I highly doubt they would have walked up on him if his gun was out. If that was the case, they would have fired on the spot before the engagement. That's a good point. Now, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't have any pistols. I'm not like I don't have a license for any of that, so that's why I don't know much about this concealed versus not. But if Lou seems to be knowledgeable, so that's why I'm asking these questions. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If they saw that, they would have fired on spot. And that's my thing. So even if you are licensed to carry, why are you going to go to these kind of environments with this type of weapon? Because they're going to fire first and ask questions later if they ask questions at all. That's all I'm saying. And I know, yeah, a lot of people have fought to be able to carry these weapons, but at the end of the day, those officers are going to be more focused on ensuring that they all get home, opposed to you. So that's why I'm saying me personally, I wouldn't have went out there with that. And as to Lou's point, it was probably concealed from what you can see in the video, right? When he appears to me from what they're saying that when the victim approached them, I guess to help the lady that got pushed to the ground, they didn't look at him as being a helpful citizen to this person. They looked at him as being a person that was impeding an investigation or impeding, some type of operation, if you will. So they need to understand that when they're out there, they're not looking at you as innocent bystander. They're looking at you as somebody who's impeding something, that you're hindering their investigation. Because as you've heard, when it came to the lady, Miss Renee, that passed away, and now this person, how they're kind of trying to bring these people out as, these they didn't call them terrorists, right? They call them something else, right? But we'll see what they were called. They were called something that wasn't very favorable, right? Because this gentleman that passed away yesterday worked for the VA. He was an ICU nurse, right? And now they're saying that he's this person that's trying to impede government business, all this kind of thing, So yeah, they're not going to show you in the best light when you involve yourself in this way. We're gonna keep it going.
killing of Renee Good earlier this month. Pretti's family says he was an ICU nurse. Continuing our breaking news coverage tonight, Fox 11's David Go brings us reaction from a friend of Pretti.
He was always a good person and always thought of him that way. And so I was really heartbroken to hear him this way.
Alex Pretti grew up in Bellevue and went to Preble High School. His friend Chris DeSalvi remembering him on Saturday night. They attended high school and college together.
We first met in high school. He was a really funny guy. He didn't take himself too seriously.
Pretti graduated from Preble in 2006. A neighbor says he then went to the University of Minnesota to study biology. He stayed up there and became a researcher and then eventually a nurse.
When I learned, he was an ICU nurse for the VA, kind of matched up a little bit. Like, this is a guy who's trying to serve others too.
A former neighbor in Bellevue describes him as just a normal, fun person who would come hang out along with his parents and his one sister. He was also involved in drama and sang in choirs, including here at his graduation from Preble. He also ran track and became an avid outdoorsman. His parents have since moved to Colorado. They told the Associated Press on Saturday that they recently told him to be careful when protesting, saying, quote, "Go ahead and protest, but do not engage. Do not do anything stupid," basically. And he said he knows that. He knew that. They said he owned a handgun and had a permit to carry in Minnesota.
I never thought him to encourage any kind of violence at all. He was genuine. He was kind. He was friendly to everybody that I know. I can't stress how much he was kind to everybody.
In Green Bay, David Go, Fox 11 News.
As of this evening, the family has told the Associated Press they had still not heard from anyone at federal law enforcement agencies about their son's death. And in a statement this evening, Pretti's parents note that his last thought and act was to protect a woman. They also challenged the comments from the Trump administration about what led up to the shooting. Now, here's what we know so far about the officer who shot Pretti. Federal officials say he is an 8-year Border Patrol veteran. The agent's identity has not yet been released. It is currently unclear if they have been taken off patrol or relieved of duty pending an investigation. U.S. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino says the officer had extensive training in using less lethal force. Thousands of Minnesota residents continued protests in the cold streets of Minneapolis today. They opposed the federal presence in the city and the shootings of Pretti and Renee Good. Governor Walz activated the Minnesota National Guard earlier this week to assist local police, including the shooting site of Alex Pretti. There are currently anti-ICE protests planned for tomorrow in Green Bay, Appleton, and Oshkosh in response to this shooting. This was the third shooting involving federal agents in Minneapolis in less than 3 weeks. 37-year-old Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent on January 7th when federal officials claim she tried to run the agent over with her car. Minnesota officials dispute that claim and say the shooting wasn't justified. That happened about a mile from today's shooting. On the 15th, the Department of Homeland Security says an ICE agent shot a man in the leg after he and 2 others attacked the agent while he tried to make an arrest. That man did not die. President Donald Trump weighed in this afternoon on the killing of Pretti. On social media, the president blamed Governor Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey for the incident, accusing them of not allowing local police to protect federal officers and that the officers had to protect themselves. The president also claimed both Frey and Walz were, quote, inciting insurrection in Minnesota. Wisconsin Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin also posted her thoughts on the shooting. Baldwin wrote on X, quote, another totally unnecessary tragedy. These masked, armed, and untrained ICE agents are totally out of control and making Minneapolis less safe. She continued by saying, quote, this has all gone too far, and the president needs to put an end to this. Get ICE out of Minneapolis. We requested statements from several other Wisconsin lawmakers for their comments on the shooting. Senator Ron Johnson and Congressman Tony Weed and Glenn Grothman have yet to respond to our request. We asked each of the lawmakers for a statement on today's shooting in Minneapolis and on the local impact due to Pretti's ties to Northeast Wisconsin. Green Bay Mayor Eric Genrich called for a transparent and independent investigation. In a statement, Genrich says that he mourns Pretti's death with his friends and family and, quote,
let me just say this before I go head on. They're not going to allow the state of Minnesota to have any insight into this investigation. The same way they're not allowing it for Miss Good, the lady who passed away a couple weeks ago, because they are going to investigate it themselves, and they're going to control the narrative that is put out regarding what's going on with these unalivings, if you will. That is what it is. Now I saw on Restream, like I had told Mr. James Pike, welcome to the live stream, by the way. YouTube is removing your comment, but your comment, because I can still see it on my Restream platform. You wrote, that is insane, it's tyranny. Yep. And then we also have a comment from Lou saying that um I highly doubt they will. Okay, I read that already. You said they have already inferred that by nature of being out there, you are obstructing justice. Got to be careful about walking into situations where the laws/rules are skewed not in your favor. Exactly. So for people who keep going out there, we've seen from these three instances where, okay, these people have gotten hurt, and as soon as they do a press conference, they are saying, well, these people are obstructing justice. The agents were doing a job. They were arresting someone who was convicted or found to have done da 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 da. Okay, they are going to display that the agents were in the right, and that the civilian that was harmed, was in the wrong. They're doing that. So we see this now. 3 times we've seen this, right? And at the end of the day, if you continue to go out there doing what you're doing, um, you may end up, being harmed. And they're going to sit there and say that it was your fault and that you shouldn't have been out there. You were obstructing. That's what they're going to say. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they're saying. So I'm hoping that if anybody that's somewhere listening to this, tell the people out there in Minnesota, like, look, figure out other ways for you to, get your point across. Okay. Now, the bottom line is that people voted for people to be put in these positions, okay, that are doing these things. So we need to make sure going forward with this midterm primary that you're looking at what these people you're voting for, what they believe in, what they're trying to do, and you're trying to vote somewhat wisely, right? And don't get me wrong, I understand you can vote for somebody that can flip the script. I get that too, right? But that's one thing that we need to take into consideration when we're voting in this midterm election, making sure we're voting for people that we think are going to help advocate for what we believe in. Okay? That's what's one thing we can do. All right? But what you can do is continue to live by not going out there, getting in these people's way, quote unquote, and not being here on the earth to submit that vote come the midterm time. You see what I'm saying? So, yes. But yeah, it was an excellent point that both of you guys made. Let's continue on with the rest of this. Let's do it.
Join the chorus of Americans who are rightfully demanding the federal government change course and enforce immigration law in keeping with local, state, and federal laws and the U.S. Constitution. Here's what's next. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says the federal government is investigating this shooting like it does for all officer-involved shootings. Meanwhile, Governor Tim Walz says the state will lead the investigation, but a state investigator says federal officers blocked his agency from the shooting scene, and when they returned with a signed judicial warrant, they were still blocked. Of course, Fox 11 News will have continuing coverage of today's shooting in Minneapolis and the local reaction on air tomorrow during Good Day Wisconsin and online at fox11online.com.
Like I said, they're not going to let these folks participate in this investigation because they're not going to allow the people of Minnesota to have the ability to call out any wrongdoing that may have occurred on the part of the agents. This is not going to happen. And like I said, 10, 15 minutes ago, the administration is not going to call the ICE agents out of Minnesota because They believe in what they're doing, okay, and they're gonna continue to do it. And so if people continue to go and try to do these protests, then we're going to see more people harmed. We're going to see more fatalities. It's unfortunate, but it's reality. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got on that. I just don't see him pulling the people out of there at all. Not right now. I don't see it. Lou says, live to fight another day. That's the main thing. I'm not saying that the reason why they're going out there is wrong, because you think what's happening is wrong. I get it. I don't want to see anybody, harmed or unalived for nothing. Never have I ever wanted to see that. But at the same time, I'm not about to put myself at risk of being harmed or unalived because of that narrative. I'm going to figure out what else I can do to push my voice forward so that I can still live another day to do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. So I'm with you 100%. And no, this man is not going to pull back the ICE agents. And that just was not, they're not doing it. Not right now, anyway. Not until he has made the point and done what he needs to do. And what you're going to find out, people, is he's probably going to do this in other areas too, around the US. This is just the first area. There may be others. We don't know what's going to be in store for us here. So yeah, that's what I got on that. So now also, there was a Don Lemon situation where someone stormed a church. We're gonna get into that too. But let me just continue playing, okay? And then we'll get into that.
The Department of Justice said it's investigating a group of protesters who disrupted a church service in Minnesota. Protesters allege that one of the church's pastors, David Easterwood, is a leader of the local ICE field office, according to the Associated Press.
Renee Good!
That office is overseeing operations that have involved violent tactics and alleged illegal arrests. Video was posted on the Facebook page of Black Lives Matter Minnesota, one of the organisers of the protests. It's unclear if Easterwood was at this Sunday service. The website of City's Church, which is based in St. Paul, lists David Easterwood as a pastor. His personal details also appear to match the court filings of the acting director of the ICE field office in St. Paul, according to the Associated Press. In October, Easterwood can also be seen alongside DHS Secretary Kristi Noem at a press conference. A US Department of Justice Assistant Attorney General said on X her agency is investigating federal civil rights violations of the protesters for, quote, desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshippers. Meanwhile, Black Lives Matter Minnesota co-founder Monique Cullis-Doty said, "We can't sit back idly and watch people go and be led astray." City's Church did not respond for comment on Sunday evening, and Easterwood's personal contact information could not immediately be located for comment.
Okay, y'all. So let me pause that.
Stories that.
Okay. So yeah, so hey, M. Ferguson, let me get this right. Hello, M. Ferguson, 5215. Welcome to the live stream. As I mentioned in the chat, YouTube removed your comment. But what you wrote here was, I could see it on my other platform, was that he was a white man carrying a semi-automatic weapon and approached law enforcement. How smart is that? If a black person did that, what would happen? That's the same point I made at the beginning of the live stream, to be truth be told. And I didn't even put the color thing on it. But I mean, yeah, like any person that's approaching these people with a weapon, I mean, they're not going to think twice about it. At this point of the game, color doesn't matter, nor does gender. At this point, they do not care about color, do not care about gender. All they care about right now is, I see somebody that might attack me and I'm going to neutralize the threat. That's what they see. You know what I'm saying? But you bring up a good point. I mean, yeah. I don't know. And like Lou mentioned in the comments earlier, he was saying that he thinks the gentleman had a concealed weapon and that they would have probably fired first had they actually seen the weapon on him, before all this stuff happened. They probably wouldn't have even done no testing. They just went ahead on and did the shooting or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, what would have happened? I mean, the person wouldn't be here today. And it wouldn't have been here a lot quicker had that been the case. Yeah, and so we have Generation here. Welcome to the live stream. He says the Most High will have the absolute justice, not man. You're right. You're right. Mm-hmm. You're right. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not trying to meet the maker just yet, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm with you. I ain't trying to meet him just yet though. But he will have absolute justice. You're right. And people are going to have to answer to the to someone higher when it comes to, their actions on this earth. I agree 100% with what you're saying. Yes, sir. Let me go ahead on with this next video. I think so, y'all. If I don't mention your comment, it could be that YouTube removed it. So I use my tablet to try to keep up with the comments so I can see better. But for things that they remove, I can still see it on my restream. So my goal is to address everybody's comment, and if I don't address yours and I skip it, let me know because it's not anything that I intended. Just putting that out there. So let's keep this going.
Following for you is from this post, Bill Malhusian on X from Fox News saying multiple sources tell me and colleague David Spunt that the federal judge in Minnesota who refused to sign off on an arrest warrant for Don Lemon is Douglas Micko, and that his wife works as an assistant attorney general in Minnesota, AG Keith Ellison's office. So this all comes on really a video that went viral over the weekend of the incident that happened of a storming of a church in Minnesota. A federal judge rejected the Justice Department's initial attempt to bring charges against journalist Don Lemon for appearing alongside protesters who breached a Minnesota church over the weekend there. So there have been multiple arrests already, and I think a lot of people were waiting to see if Don Lemon's name was going to be added, and that was not the case, at least so far, at least. So let's now bring in our next guest to help break it all down here for us. A friend here of Live Now from Fox, Nima Rahmani, former federal prosecutor. Always great to have you on, Nima.
Let me pause this real quick. Okay, so I see we got a couple of new people here in the chat. We got Relican Victus. He says, he or she says, OFFS, more religious, delusional, BS. Not sure what all that means. But I do believe that anything that we do on this life, on this earth, that we do have to answer to someone higher at the end of time. I believe that. So if that's what you're calling delusional BS, then I'm a Christian and that's what I believe in, and I'm gonna stand on that. Okay. Now we have Anthony Human Being here. Welcome to the live stream as well. He says, "Oh, good. It's a common sense live. Phew, can't believe people are trying to justify yesterday." I'm definitely not trying to justify it, but what I do want people to understand is that it's going to continue with the way things are, unfortunately. And I want people to be able to continue to live to see another day and figure out what can they do without getting in harm's way to continue to try to help support the cause. Because I don't see the administration removing the ICE agents. I just don't see it. They're going to remove them when they want to. And I just feel like if things continue as it is, we're going to have more people that are going to be harmed or hurt or unalived, if you will. And I just don't want that to be honest. I think people should have the ability to say what they want to say, but at this junction, we have people that are able to harm you and nothing's really happening to them, if that makes sense. When these people are being harmed and hurt, right? The first thing they're doing is coming on the internet saying, "Oh, yes, they were in the middle of a mission and these people are obstructing da 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 da." But guess what? By this point in time, you're either unalive or you're harmed, right? So we see what the game is right now. We see what the play is, right? So at this point, I want people to stop going out there because I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want to see another person on the internet on this TV of mine where they're saying that this person got harmed or, or it's another fatality because of this scenario. I want that to be the last one. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's just kind of my preference. I'm pro-life. I don't want people harmed and hurt. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of that's what I'm talking about here, honestly. And I do think that at the end of the day, like I think what the gentleman was trying to tell me, Mr. Generation, that basically, hey, here, we do have the administration kind of protecting these folks, right? But he's saying, and I understood him to say that, okay, yeah, they may protect you here, but when it's all said and done, you are going to have to answer to somebody else. And so I understood what he was saying with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I took from that's what I'm taking from the comments. And I may have the wrong mindset, but that's how I'm looking at this, So what we got here? We got Anthony saying we can't do anything. That man was executed for expressing his First and Second Amendment rights. How else do we fight tyranny? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that, to be honest. That's why I was saying people need to figure out, okay, what else can I do besides, going out here and doing what I'm doing? Because they're looking at it as you obstructing justice, as Mr. Lou said before. They've inferred that, right? So I don't know what one can do, but we it would be better for us to be alive. You know what I'm saying? To figure that out. Yeah. So I mean, I know you saying I did. Well, okay. Let me go back in line. So Lou, it says please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Yes, I appreciate that. Please do that, y'all. Help a sister out, okay? Anthony says we can only use our voices, though. That's true. Lou says, fight with your vote. Yes, voices, voting, writing to our congressman. I don't know. Maybe writing to the president. I mean, I don't know. He's always on his social media platform. Like I don't know, but I don't think he's just gonna pull these people out. And I think we're gonna have more people harmed that are true civilians, if you will, prior to this ending. And I'm not surprised if this ends up going to other states, if that makes sense. So okay, Anthony did say won't help again till November. So that's when they have the midterm elections, right? So we have user LEPL5HW4W said hello, welcome to the live stream. Anthony Human Being says, yeah, that's why I started my channel, using my voice, but I'm also protesting. All right. All right. So we got Ryan2691. Welcome to the live stream. He says, are you a conservative? Ryan, I am a Black woman in America. I have never identified myself as a conservative, to be honest with you. I don't even know what I have heard of conservatives, but I don't know, like, what are your ideals that make you be a conservative, if that makes sense. I'm a Black woman in America, but I'm gonna go look this up. I'm a Black woman in America. That's what I am. Trying to make it. I have my own challenges that I have to deal with, to be honest with you. And so me being on YouTube kind of is like a hobby for me, and it's a way for me to not think about what I have in my own personal reality, if that makes sense. But I ain't gonna get into all that. But no, I am a person that believes in people living. I am that. hmm So Lou says, I guess independent. The user says Democrats are conservatives. Okay. And then Ryan says, who did you vote for? I'm not going to tell you who I voted for. I am not going to tell y'all who I voted for. No. Let's see. Lou says nonpartisan. User says Democrats are making America great again. They trying to, I see. Okay, so Anthony says conservative values are supposed to be less government, make it on your own, Christian, country first, and capitalism. Interesting. I am Christian, I've been Southern Baptist, yes. Less government. Huh. Country first. Make it on your own. I am making it on my own. I can dig that. Capitalism. Hmm. Let me look some up. What's it called? Called Chat GPT? Country first. Let me see how does one country first? Let's see, because I am, let me define that for me. Because I'm all about my own little ecosystem first. You know what I'm saying? I'm about trying to make sure I survive out here. Okay, so country first refers to a political or ideological stance that prioritizes a nation's own interests above those of other countries or international institutions. It usually means national sovereignty first, domestic interests over global cooperation, economic nationalism, cultural identity emphasis. Okay. America first. I mean, I guess I can dig that because let's see. Um Capitalism. Okay, we have Lou saying laugh out loud, dog eat dog, Zizek, and so on. Welcome to the live stream, Zizek. What makes conservatives value capitalism? Laugh out loud, you so brainwashed. Was Zizek? I don't know if I'm brainwashed because I don't know what makes conservatives value capitalism. Randy says he left out some things. User LE4PL. Every Democratic president in history lowers the deficit, gives us deflation, and makes the economy stronger. Okay. Anthony says liberals are more about helping others. Hold on. Okay, liberals are more about helping others, more government assistance, higher taxes on the rich. The country is better with legal immigrants. I'm trying to process that. Liberals are more about helping others, more government assistance, higher taxes on the rich. The country is better with legal immigrants. You're about 11 years too late, is what Ryan says. Smooth says, I love your hair, pretty woman just passing through. Hey, Smooth Will, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. We got Zizek saying, not you, the commenter before said it. Okay. Anthony Human Being says, I was just trying to give her quick hits, not in depth. Okay. I understood that. We have Auntie Stella. Okay, I think I got that right. Welcome to the live stream, Auntie Stella. User Clinton lowered it by pushing through death-based business. Lou says, laugh aloud, we're a capitalist country in general versus communist or another governmental structure. So we got Lindsay girl in the house. Hey, how you doing, girl? I ain't seen you in a minute. Glad you made the live stream. Then we got Auntie Stella saying thank you. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all, look now. Y'all are the educators. Y'all know more about this stuff than I do. And I have no problem letting you guys know that, okay? Because it's the truth. So I am learning from what you guys are telling me here in the chat, okay? So if I read things, I'm just trying to process and understand what's being said, okay? Like I said, I'm a black woman in America. That's what I am. And I'm more concerned about my personal economy. That's my world. So call me what you want. I'm just telling you what it is. Am I conservative? I don't know. Whoever, I'm going to vote for what I think is going to work out best for me and what I got going on. Okay. That's what I can tell you. But at the end of the day, no matter who you are, no matter who you can't see my restream. What you mean? You can't see the screen on restream? Wait a minute. What can't you see? What can't you see on YouTube? What can't you see? Y'all see me, right? Do you see me? And let me tell y'all, I'm not the most technologically savvy, okay? So I've been doing this for a minute, but let me see what y'all can't see here. Because let's see what we got here. So Auntie Stella, oh, I missed that. She said AB clinics body parts industry increased. Okay, what can't you see on, so you see the stalled video? Or do you guys want to see, do you guys want me, yeah, I type while I talk, want me to show the comments on the screen from Restream? Maybe that's what it is. Okay, hey, Big Tone online. I said it right this time. Welcome to the live stream. Big Tone said, "Hi, Tip. I can see and hear you, just fine on YouTube." Okay, so everybody's saying that they can see me, hear me. Okay, thank y'all for letting me know. I'd be concerned. Oh, he said we can't see the restream comments. Okay, y'all want to see the restream comments. Okay, I can do that. A few lives ago, someone told me that they didn't want us. They said that the comments were getting in the way. So I kind of got out of habit of showing them to y'all. But I can definitely make sure I put them on here when I read them. No problem with that. Because I'm seeing now on this live stream, a lot of the comments are being removed from YouTube. So you guys can't see those in the YouTube live stream comments, but I'll put them on the screen, not a problem. So, okay, where am I gonna get started at? Let me take off this ticker. Let me get that out the way so that when I show these comments, hold on, let me go back to this. Okay. Okay, let me get myself together, y'all. Okay, the last thing I was seeing here. Okay. I want to say, okay, there was a comment about trying to keep up with all these comments too, y'all. So Barack Obama, let me go back to that one and start showing that one. Okay. Now, y'all, I can't read this, okay? But it says, Barack Obama lowered the deficit 21 to 8 trillion, giving us a deflation. Girl, yeah, let me find this on this tablet, honey, because like I said, I can't see good on this small screen. Here we go. Barack Obama lowered the deficit 21 to 8 trillion dollars, giving us a deflation and a better economy. Okay, got it. Okay. Um, what else we got here? Yeah, I'm sorry that I kind of threw us off when I was trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing. We were on a roll with all these comments. We got all things. We got my girl. All things. Hold on, what we got here? Hold on. So we got the human being saying more concerned. Hold on. More concerned with their personal economy than other Americans being unalive by the government. Definitely conservative, laugh out loud. Hold on now. Let me take this comment off so you can see my face when I'm talking. I do care about the people that are being unalive. No, somebody asked me if I was conservative. I'm not sure how you define that. And that's why the gentleman, Mr. Anthony, was giving me a little bit of quick tips. But yeah, I said that I'm focused on my personal economy. That's what I was talking about. I mean, people ask me, well, who did I vote for? I'm like, what I look at when I'm voting, which is what is going on here. Now, when they had the election last year, I wasn't aware of a lot of people being unalived by the government. Now, back during the pandemic, when all of the what were those people who were getting unalived look like every other week, like George Floyd and all them? Oh yeah, I was all about making sure that those people, you know, were getting justice of that nature. So no, I do care about those who get unalived. But when you're asking me what is am I a conservative? I'm telling you, I don't know if I'm a conservative. I don't identify as that. What I'm focused on is what I'm focused on. Okay. And when I go vote, I'm gonna go vote based off what I think is best for me, like everybody else do in the United States of America. Okay. That's where I'm at on that. So we got okay, all things key, Nicole. Hey, we early today. Yes, girl, we early today, but I am doing another live stream at 6:30 this evening. But because it's snowing outside, I decided to come on a little early today. That's what I'm doing right now. Then we got but yes, welcome to the live show, girl. I'm glad you made it today. Um, what else we got on here? Okay, we got Auntie Stella. But okay. Barack got rid of a lot more illegals too, but they protesting Trump doing it. Okay. Okay. Um, let's see. Auntie Stella says, might want to see where that fraud in dim spaces started. Okay. Might want to see. Y'all know I can't, like, this is small. Might want to see where that fraud in dim spaces started. Okay. So we got I am troll silly said no. We got I am troll silly saying Obama didn't reduce poop. Oh, then he's talking about George Floyd. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anthony Human Being says I vote based on what's best for those in my city and community, not just me. Well, I'm hoping that everybody votes what's best for them in the city and community. I'm not familiar with what they have going on personally. We have I am troll silly saying typical selfish voter. You need to vote for hold on. You need to vote for the betterment of the entire country. The 19th Amendment needs to be repealed. Yeah, when I vote what's best for me, that is what's best for the entire country. How about that? Let's see. What's the 19th Amendment? Let me see what that is. Oh, impact on women's rights. Negative. No, I don't need to be repealed. Not at all. Nope. Keep it going. Obama, okay. Obama did let me see. Let me go on here. Obama. Okay, so this isn't showing up on here. Okay, Obama did, let me take this off real fast. Obama did with legally and without killing American citizens in the process. So I think Anthony's referring to the comment about Obama removing the immigrants. Yep, I agree with that because I don't recall hearing any of this back when he was in office as far as people doing this kind of stuff. Then we have KG Casper saying, yeah, see, a lot of this is not showing up on, yeah, it's not showing up on YouTube. Obama got rid of about 5 million illegal aliens while putting children in cages, then blamed it on Trump. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's see. Obama, we have KG Casper here. Welcome to the live stream. I didn't welcome you. Obama did drone strikes on American citizens in another country. It started when Obama administration. I don't know anything about that. Okay. So what's this one here? It started when Obama administration brought in. Let me see if I can read that. It started when Obama administration brought in Ilhan Omar and her family, as well as tens of thousands of Somalis, and gave them protected status. Okay. Auntie Stella said it's impossible to vote in everyone's best interest because some people are self-sabotaging to themselves. Example, protesters that are getting unalived. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you on Stella. Everybody has a right to vote. And so you should be voting for what works best for you. Okay. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, other people may have the same things I have going on, and we're gonna come together. But they have a platform, right? They sit here and they present and campaign on certain principles, right? So you figure out which candidate, you know, aligns with what you need done, and that is what you do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I know the person's trolling me, talking about I know the man trolling me, talking about they need to remove the 19th amendment for the women to vote. I ain't studying that. I'm not studying that. Okay, Randall J. Brown says, what will happen when a black woman like you becomes president? What will happen? I guess you'll have somebody that's a critical thinker that's gonna try to do what's best for everybody in the country and not pursue my individual ideas. I mean, that's what I think would happen. If I was a president, when you're in a leadership position of any kind, you think about what's the greater good for everybody that's underneath your leadership. That's how that works, right? So that's how that works when you're in a leadership position. Now, when it comes to a person that's voting, because everybody has the opportunity to vote, then guess what? You should be voting on what's best for you and voting for the candidate that's going to get you what you need. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. So you'll get that with a person, with any president who thinks like I do. Somebody who can critically think, and that's going to look at what's in the best interest for all the people that are underneath my leadership. You'll get that. We got Anthony Human Being saying Obama deported. Hold on, I can't read that. Okay, Obama deported people legally and without killing American citizens. That's my understanding. Sorry, just to repeat, not a problem. So we got Auntie Stella saying we are responsible for ourselves, and that's what we are to consider first. If our vote help others, great. If not, it's up to them to vote on behalf of themselves. Yeah, that's kind of my thought process. So KG Casper says that everything that ICE is doing is legal. They're enforcing the law. Okay. And I'm gonna just tell you, I am not going to I'm not gonna sit here and say what the law is, because that's not in my job, right? But I will say that it sounds like to me that they are enforcing what their leadership is asking them to enforce. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess that's saying the same thing you're saying. I don't know what they were asked to do, but they're doing it, and they're doing it, yes, sir, boss. Now, what I was thinking about here, I'm gonna get to these comments, y'all. I'm not going to not get to these comments. But what's going on with this thing here? We gonna take this off? Y'all know what's going on, Reach. Okay, here we go. What I am going to say is that I was thinking about that movie, A Few Good Men, okay? And I haven't seen it in a long time, but one of my favorite quotes is with Colonel Jessup, okay? And he ordered the code red, okay? He ordered the code red, right? And man, I wish I would have had that clip for y'all. I'm gonna get it for the next one. He ordered the code red. And so when I think about it, that's one of my favorite movies, that clip rather, because he talks about a very poignant statement where he talks about where you need me on that wall. You won't be on that wall, okay? And he talks about how people be in these places, they want to talk about how this man, Colonel Jessup, chooses to do what he does, right? But they need him to do what he's doing. Okay. And yes, he ordered that code red. And for some reason in my mind, I kind of see the correlation with how they're doing this whole thing with ICE. Just putting it out there. But let me keep it going. So we got KG Casper saying, "Thank you, sister. I appreciate the shout out." Oh yeah, I try to shout out everybody. That because I appreciate you guys coming to my live stream, supporting me and everything. So I try to read every comment. And I also try to shout out and welcome everybody to the live stream. That's what I like to do. Okay. So yes. And understand, like I said, I'm not the most knowledgeable on these political things. I'm not. So that's it. That's what it is. I'm not a political commentator. My YouTube page is not about that. I just don't want people to continue going out there and being at risk of being harmed. That's where I'm at. I don't want anybody harmed. I want everybody to live tomorrow and continue on. That's what I want, honestly. Um, so I know people trying to figure out what I have vote, all that. It don't matter. I'm all about people continuing to live. That's what I'm about right now on this platform, myself included. So we got Anthony. The human being, we have Anthony Human Being saying Trump has pre-internment camps set up all throughout the country, and you want to talk about Obama's cages? Laugh out loud. I ain't know he had cages. I ain't know that. Auntie Stella says that's true. I need to get my glasses, y'all. Okay, that's true. He hold on. He said that's true. He ordered drone strikes without that country's permission too. Okay. Those men were suspected to be terrorists, is what Auntie Stella. I don't know what y'all talking about now, but I'm gonna keep reading. He says, "What, you blamed the protester yesterday? He was literally unalived," is what Anthony Human Being saying. I'm not blaming anybody. I just think that what I am going to say again is that I think that people see what is going on, right? And if you know that they're going to sit here and harm people and unalive them like that, we need to not be going out there. That's what I'm saying. Yes. I don't want to come online. I don't want to log onto my tablet and onto the TV here and hear about another person that was unalive yesterday or this morning. I don't. Call me selfish. I want people to be able to live and figure out how we can make change without having to put ourselves in harm's way. That is what I ultimately want. And yes, I mean, at this point, if you know that these people are operating like this and you continue to go out there, then you understand the risk that might happen. That's just common sense there. I'm not blaming nobody, but I am gonna say, if you know that they're doing this, if you know that if you jump into this water body that's 1 feet deep and you got concrete under it, you know if you jump in there, you're gonna probably come out paralyzed, right? So yeah, that's what we are here. So no, I'm not blaming anybody. I don't want anybody to keep getting hurt. So we got KG Casper saying truth to something. Anthony Hume says you're definitely Republican. Laugh out loud. Interesting. Lou says, why do you think I'm Republican? Why do you guys think I am Republican or conservative? Why do y'all think that? Okay, Lou says, laugh out loud, this term selfish voter is an oxymoron. KG Casper said, that's just wrong. We need the 19th Amendment. I agree. What else you said here? Okay. Lord, I can't read that. Let me take it off and then read it. Okay, it says, that's just wrong. We need the 19th Amendment. There's more important things that need to be addressed in the Constitution, such as birthright citizenship. Okay. I'm trying to show it back on here so I can at least have it on the recording. So then we have here Auntie Stella saying, if a housewife was president, there would be a lot of people whining because she would balance that budget now. Yeah, she would have that budget balanced. Yes. So Randall J. Brown said thank you. Okay, you're welcome. I don't know what I said or did, but yes, you're welcome. Big Tom says, I ain't studying that. That's what we say down south. I love it. Oh, yes, Big Tom. I am from Alabama. I'm from Alabama. That is where I'm from. I was down there this past weekend seeing my parents. Yes. But I will let me also say that not only do I take into consideration my personal economy, but I think about how things that are being put into place impact my parents that are back in Alabama because they are on a fixed income. They're 80 and 81. So I do think about that as well. Even yeah, when I'm figuring out how to vote and do things for myself, I think about them too because as we all do, if our parents need anything, we're gonna step in and help them out. So there you have that, right? So then we have Auntie Stella saying, yep, Anthony, you pull out a pow pow in front of an agent on a mission, dot dot dot. Then we got Lou and you know it saying big tone, laughing with tears 100. KG Casper says, okay, I would like to add law abiding and a higher standard of moral fiber. So are you adding that to like how you define what a conservative is? Yeah, I know we done went a lot of ways here. So I'm trying to keep up with all the conversations. Y'all, please bear with me. Okay, then we got KG Casper saying, read the people sent these people to we the people sent those people to Congress to make laws. The enforcement arm is just doing their job. Okay. KG Casper also says, which ties into the vote. If you don't like the laws, vote people out and change them. Okay. We the people, by the way, that talk the text. Oh, I understand. I got you. I figured it out as I was reading through it. So then we have Lou saying, did you order the code red? You GD right, I did. Yeah, that's what he said, didn't it? That doggone Colonel Jessup, honey. He ordered the code red. Yes. Okay, we got Auntie Stella saying, I like your live streaming because you being reasonable. I try to be. I mean, like I said, y'all, I'm not this is not my lane. You know, talking about this kind of stuff is not my lane. But like I said, I know I'm a broken record. Like I said, you know, I don't want nobody else to be harmed with this thing. I mean, and if the people keep going out there to these protests, and I'm not saying that they can't, they can do whatever they want to do, right? But it's gonna be more people being harmed in this thing. And I think we all can agree because I know I saw the governor, or was it the mayor or someone saying, well, we want Trump to take the ICE people out. He not gonna do that. He not doing that, y'all. Y'all know that he not gonna do that. And he not. He gonna take them out when he ready to take them out. You see what I'm saying? He not gonna take them out now 1 second before. No, sir. He not. He gonna do it when he want to do it. So that's why I'm saying we gotta be mind. We gotta think about what's going on here. You know, you can be more effective if you're still on this earth to do what the gentleman KG Casper saying, being able to vote and get these people out of office and make some changes, right? Maybe you need to like run for something, you know, and help make a difference. Seriously. So we got Lou saying, you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. Colonel Jessup. Yeah, he came through with that, didn't he? Okay. So then we got KG Casper saying, they were suspected to be terrorists, but that doesn't make it legal or right. They should stand justice in a court of law. They were American. Okay. I don't know what we're talking about there, but it sounds like, yeah, I do believe in the legal system. Okay, we got Don J 6269. Hey Don J, welcome to the live stream. Glad you're here. Okay, Don J says, what change do you want? Okay. What change do I want? Me personally, I want people to keep living. That's the change I want right now. That's the change I want for the moment. Yeah. People to continue to live and not be harmed, and us not hearing about people being unalive, because these people are going to do what they have been tasked to do. And as Mr. Lou said before, they have inferred that basically if you're out there protesting, you are obstructing justice. That's what they put out there, right? So I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that there are gonna be more people harmed with this situation. So if we have people that can figure out other ways to get their voices out there without being harmed, that is what I would like, honestly. So we got Auntie Stella saying, common sense. Thank you for stating that. Okay. We got Lou saying change. MJ said you got to start with the man in the mirror. Oh, you talking about Michael Jackson. Lord. Okay. We got Jerry Lee Farmer. Welcome to the live stream, Jerry Lee. Glad that you're here. He says, I blame the guy for not using common sense. That is what Jerry Lee Farmer said. What I will say is that we heard on the video how the parents was like, yeah, please make sure that if you're going to protest that you are, you know, that you're not doing anything crazy. Oh, that's my terms of what they say. I can't remember. But yeah, his family knew like there was some risk for him being out there and everything. So yeah, definitely got to be wise. If you're going to be out there, you have to be wise. You have to be very intentional about what you're doing, okay? Because you have people out there that's looking for anything, and they're going to fire first and ask later. You see what I'm saying? So definitely don't want to be the person that's harmed because you don't get a second chance. You see what I'm saying? You don't get a second chance at this thing. So we got Don J asking again, what change do you want? KG Casper says, I don't think you are a Republican, but you do have some conservative values from what I can tell. Okay. Lou says, KG Casper, that's why I said nonpartisan, independent. Oh, okay, I see why you said that, yes. Then we got Jerry Lee Farmer. The only real change we need is America first. Any don't like it, leave. Let me ask you this, Jerry Lee. So is America not first? And I'm asking that genuinely. Like I told y'all here to educate me. I'm not a political person, but is America not first? Like, I'm just trying to understand, like, what if it's not that, then what else is it, if that makes sense? That's what I'm wondering. If you're still here, if you can kind of chime in, I would appreciate that. And I'm asking that sincerely, not just I'm asking for my own understanding. That's all. Because this is a place where I'm learning as well. Okay. So yeah. Okay, KG Casper said, indeed, lean heavy to the okay, indeed. Lean heavy to the libertarian side of things with a bit of conservative thrown in there for the law and order factor. I'm from North Carolina, by the way. Okay, we got somebody else from the South in here. All right, libertarian. I have heard of that. I've never really took the time to figure out like what that really entailed or consisted of. If that makes sense. Um, we got Lou and you know it saying interesting at Jerry. Boy, I can't read that. Hold on. Okay, interesting at Jerry. How do we have America first and support HB1 visas at the same time asking for a friend? What is a HB1 visa? Now y'all, okay, this is y'all gonna take me to school today, honey. What is an HB1 visa? Let me look this up. Let me look this up. Okay, HB1 visa. I haven't even finished my video, y'all. But it's okay because we vibing. So we all about the vibes, okay? That's fine. Okay, it's a U.S. work visa for highly skilled foreign professionals. Allows U.S. employers to hire foreign workers in specialty occupations such as technology and IT, engineering, finance, healthcare, academia, science, and research. Initial is 3 years, maximum is 6 years. Okay, learn something new here. Okay, KG Casper says, no, I was throwing that in with what you were describing yourself as with respect. Okay, okay. Auntie Stella says, Trump is the vaccination no child wants because it's painful, but finds later it really was for their best. Okay. Okay, we got Jerry Lee Farmer back here. Okay, let me see what he answering here. Okay, he says, man, I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna put it back on. Okay, he says HB1 has to be vented, not just more cheap labor, and that's all the backroom politics have been doing. It's come to a stop. FAFO. Okay, put that back up. Is it showing? Okay. Apologies for the typo. Oh, you're fine. Yeah, I struggle with typing on this thing myself, so no issues there. So we got KG Casper back, and he's saying he's getting ready to put the Insurrection Act into practice because of the breakdown of the state government. What is the Insurrection Act? Let me look that up. Let me see. Let me look that up. What's what that pertains to? It's a U.S. federal law that allows the president to deploy the military within the United States under specific circumstances. Plain English explanation. It gives the president authority to use federal troops or the National Guard to restore order when states cannot or will not protect constitutional rights or maintain public order. Okay, so based off what this is saying, that's probably why he's unleashing all these military folks in Minnesota, right? 'Cause I think I heard that he was getting ready to do that somewhere. I thought it was Minnesota. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. Okay, so we got KG Casper saying, and B, because of so-called peaceful protest turning violent. Okay. Yes. Jerry Lee Farmer says, thank you for the invite. Of course. Lou says, the change, let me see what he's saying. The change I want is literal. Bring back the penny. Okay, sir. Bring back the penny. Okay, so KG Casper said that's really what he said he was saying, that the peaceful protesters were not being peaceful and impeding. Okay. Jerry Lee Farmer says America has been sold out by our politicians for their backroom deals to line their own pockets. Okay. Lou, you know it says like he's referring to the political concept of America first. Chat GPT it. I did chat GPT it, but I know I'm behind. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm behind with all the y'all are ahead of me with these comments. Okay, so we have KG Casper saying Ezekiel 35 and Revelations 20. Now, if you had a specific verse, I was gonna look that up. But you said Ezekiel 35. I might look this up when I'm off of here. Ezekiel 35 and Revelations 20. Let me type that in so I remember that. Oh, it gave me a quick little thing. Ezekiel 35 is judgment on Mount Sire. What it's about, a prophecy of judgment against Edom, a long-standing enemy of Israel. Edom is condemned for violence, perpetual hatred, and taking advantage of Israel's weakness during its downfall. Revelation 20, the final judgment and restoration. What it's about. Satan is bound for 1,000 years, the millennium, resurrection and reign of Christ with the faithful, final rebellion after Satan's release, defeat of Satan, great white throne judgment, and final separation of good and evil. Okay. So many theologians and readers see a pattern, not a one-to-one prophecy amongst the two items here. Important note of interpretation. Ezekiel 35 is widely understood as a historical prophecy against Edom, and Revelation 20 is apocalyptic, rich in symbolism, and interpreted differently across Christian traditions, premillennial, millennial, postmillennial. Okay. All right. So we got Jeremy Farmer saying, and they have overloaded our country with their cheap labor and criminals. KG Casper says, in my mind, my country is America. I am America. America first. I was American people first always. I mean, is there any other way? Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't really think about being an American, to be honest. I just am. That's what I am, right? So I guess I never really think about the fact that I'm American. I benefit from being American. I like being here in America. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. So yeah, I'm America first. I guess that's what I am, y'all. I haven't thought about anything else other than that. I'm not an expat. I live in Maryland. So yeah, I want to stay here in America. Yes, I wouldn't mind visiting out the country though. Just visiting, but coming back here to live, you know? So we got Lou saying, didn't he use that in California or tried? KG Casper said, more or less libertarians believe Don't mess with me. I won't mess with you. Live and let live. Okay, I do think like that with certain things. I just be minding my business, but what they say, don't come for me unless I send for you. That type of thing. So Jerry Lee Farmer says that Trump needs to do it now. FAFO. KG Casper said, good vibrations on all of everybody. Yes, good vibrations. Lou says, agreed at KG Casper. Jerry Lee Farmer says, God also says to abide by the laws of man as well. Okay. We got Auntie Stella here saying, yes, Jerry, unless they contradict the law of God. Y'all, I caught up with all the comments. I didn't think I could do it. I caught up with the comments. I am going to play. Okay, well, Jerry Lee Farmer has something else. Anyone that breaks God's law will be punished, and man shall take a pound of flesh. All right. I'm going to finish the video, y'all. Okay.
Explain the moment here as federal prosecutors tried to get this for Don Lemon. How does this go about?
Mike, really surprising that federal prosecutors would pursue a case and not even clear probable cause. That's a very low standard. I mean, we've seen it recently with this Department of Justice going to the grand jury and being unable to get an indictment. And here, there was a magistrate judge that said there's not enough probable cause to issue an arrest warrant and arrest Don Lemon. Of course, he's a former CNN anchor, now a reporter who was present there. We've all seen the viral videos from this Sunday with protesters disrupting the proceedings. The question is this unlawful? And there's really two different federal statutes that the three individuals who have been arrested are being charged on. The first is deprivation of civil rights, and the civil rights here being the freedom to practice one's religion. You have competing factors here. Obviously, you have the First Amendment on one side, allows for freedom of speech, which includes the freedom of protest, as well as the freedom of religion. And then there's a second act that's being charged, not typically used, it's called the FACE Act. That's the Freedom of Access to Clinical Entrances Act. It's typically used for abortion clinics, but it also applies to houses of worship. So certainly an escalation by the Department of Justice, and it's pretty clear in Minnesota and elsewhere, they're going to take a very aggressive stance against these ICE protesters to the extent that they believe that they're engaging in something more than protected activity and speech, and they're obstructing the enforcement of federal law.
Now, Nima, if this incident happened in a more Republican favorable state, would it have been a different story for Don Lemon?
Well, potentially, yes. And again, this is where the judge matters. But the problem with a case like this is, look, if you're the Department of Justice, you don't want to bring cases unless you're going to win. And they've suffered a series of setbacks recently. When you're a federal prosecutor, typically, historically, you don't bring a case unless it's bulletproof, it's ironclad. You don't want to be going to court and losing. You're expected to win every time. And I understand the policy reasons why you want to send a message and protect ICE agents who are enforcing federal law. I understand these laws are unpopular, but if you don't like the law, right, your member of Congress changed the law. I do believe that ICE has the right to enforce the law, just like the protesters have the right to make their voice heard, as long as they're not engaging in obstruction or unlawful conduct. But the fact that you have a judge here who doesn't believe there's probable cause with respect to one defendant, Mike, that doesn't bode well for the chance of getting a guilty verdict at trial. You have to convince 12 out of 12 jurors unanimously, beyond a reasonable doubt, the highest standard in the law. One of the individuals who was arrested today, Armstrong, she is a pretty prominent civil rights activist, also an attorney. This is not the type of case that's going to plead out. And again, I have concerns about this case because there's some ready-made defenses here. You have the First Amendment, of course, but you also have the argument that there's no criminal activity. There was no force. There was no threats. There was no intimidation. There was no unlawful agreement to deprive someone of their civil rights, which is required for conspiracy. So it's going to be a very tough case for the DOJ if they do intend to pursue it all the way.
And Nima, lastly, what do you think was the hangup for the judge not to see or find the probable cause when there was others that were able to get arrested? What do you think that was?
Mike, I think probably one of the big deals, this is a reporter, right? Here's someone who is present, and obviously we know, the First Amendment protects reporters in this country. It's a very strong defense, and when it comes to speech, we really need to separate speech, even if it's unruly, from criminal conduct. You generally need something more to prosecute someone. Now, there are certain instances where you can make a threat, and that threat is criminal. But short of that, if you are disruptive, you maybe can be prosecuted for trespassing, but these are very significant charges here. The civil rights charges carry potential 10-year sentence in federal prison. The FACE Act, if there's violence, carries a potential 11-year sentence in federal prison. So a judge is probably looking at this saying, hey, here's someone who's a reporter, here's someone who's disagreeing with ICE, which is his American constitutional rights. I have a concern with this case being prosecuted when there's a very strong defense there. I don't think there's enough probable cause, and that's the judge's role as a gatekeeper.
Nima, yeah, it's going to be something really to look at here as this case does evolve for the others. Nima, we appreciate it as always here on Live Now from Fox. Always great to have you on with the insight.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Talk.
Okay, so that was it for that video. Okay, let me we're gonna go on to the regular screen here, y'all. So what y'all think about that? I know y'all had some comments in the chat. I'm gonna go, let me get to those. I'm gonna take this off here so I can see the comments because I want to see those. Okay, so all right. Okay, we have Auntie Stella that says Peter Thiel is hiding behind a libertarian label, but don't be deceived, folks. He does not have liberty at heart for anyone but him. Who is Peter Thiel? Who is that? Let me see. Let me look that up real quick. Peter Thiel is a prominent technology entrepreneur, investor, and political donor. Okay. Got it. Yeah, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for those that are here. Support the channel. Support your girl. Appreciate you. We got Jerry Lee Farmer saying Don is walking a fine line. Don't trip. It sounds like it from what I've gathered on this video. Like they were trying to, I guess, file something against him, but the judge is not going with it, is what I'm gathering here. It's a lot going on here. Auntie Stella says Don Lemon went on live and announced what they were going to do. There's the probable cause. So what exactly did Don Lemon announce? Let me look that up. And let's see. What exactly did he? I didn't see, I don't really watch his stuff, so I didn't see all of that. Okay, so what I got here is that in St. Paul, Minnesota, a group of anti-ICE protesters entered a church during a service. They were opposing federal immigration enforcement and specifically targeted the pastor because he also served as a local ICE official. Okay, I didn't know that. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon, now an independent journalist, was present recording and live streaming the protest. Some conservative commentators claimed he was part of the protest. Lemon and his attorney said he was there solely as a journalist documenting the event. Okay, the DOJ sought to bring federal charges against Lemon related to the protest, including possible claims under laws that prohibit interference with religious worship and civil rights statutes. A federal magistrate judge in Minnesota rejected the DOJ's application to charge Lemon ruling there wasn't sufficient probable cause for misdemeanor charges at that stage. Lemon was not arrested at the time, though DOJ could still pursue charges later through other legal paths like a grand jury. An appeals court recently refused to force the lower court to issue arrest warrants for Lemon and others, describing the DOJ's request as highly unusual. This is seen as a setback for federal prosecutors. Interesting. Okay, so they say, in short, Don Lemon was caught up in a controversial protest inside a Minnesota church. While reporting on it, federal prosecutors tried but initially failed to secure charges against him, arguing his actions crossed legal lines. A judge ruled those specific charges lacked probable cause. Lemon insists he was doing protected journalistic work, and the case continues to develop both legally and in the court of public opinion. Interesting. Interesting. So, according to Miss Auntie Stella, he announced what they were doing, and that's the probable cause. Okay, now I see what you're coming from with that. Got it. So she also said, Auntie Stella said, Don Lemon made it very clear he was involved before, during, and after. In fact, the pastor told him to leave. Okay. All right. So Lou says that the quote that you mentioned earlier is loading. Okay, that's probably my quote from A Few Good Men. Okay, thank you. KG Casper said, we've got nothing but ice down here. Yeah, we got snow. Like, this person's car, I would say the snow is at least up to halfway up the tire. Because I can kind of see out the blind a little bit. But yeah, they came by earlier, at least twice today, to clear the streets, but it's back, it's back full. It's back fully white. Okay, here's my quote. Okay, thank you, Lou. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. That is Colonel Jessup from A Few Good Men. Okay? I can see Trump saying that. Yes, that's one of my favorite quotes right there from that movie. Put that on the screen. Yes. Then we have Auntie Stella saying hold on, let me get this scrolled up a little bit. Their behavior, loud and announcing upon entry and during their prayer meeting, was threatening. Look at the reaction of the churchgoers. Children terrified. One lady fell and got hurt, going out fast. They did it during the prayer service. So they went to the church to, I guess they wanted to chat with the ICE official who is a pastor at this church. Is that why they went there? Like, were they trying to talk to this man? Like, is that why they went to the church and not to his office? That's what I'm saying. Like, I was telling the people on my live stream I did last night, like, these people they can do a little bit much on this internet. Like I told y'all, how I have a family member who has a platform on YouTube, and she had a little internet beef with somebody, and the supporters of that other person was calling her job and her husband's job, trying to get them fired for some internet stuff that had nothing to do with their job. So what I'm saying is that people will go out their way to find ways to get to you, whether it's at the church, in this case, at your employer. It's crazy. It's crazy. And that's why, I'm like, I don't really try to get into certain things, because it's like, this is my outlet for relaxation, if you will. I like talking to y'all, and I like learning and doing my little videos, but I'm not trying to mess up my livelihood on some stuff like this. But, like, and in the case with Don Lemon, it's like, okay, you're doing this journalistic thing, but I mean, I don't know. You went to somebody at church during the prayer service trying to get to this man? My goodness. We got All Things Key saying we were supposed to have snow last night, but it hasn't reached Houston yet. Well, it's probably not going to reach Houston then, but it's definitely here. Okay. Then we have KG Casper saying the only reason Don Lemon is not in jail right now is because they're building a case. He'll get paperwork very soon. I believe that. Because when I read the little thing on ChatGPT, they were saying that right now, you know, they said there wasn't enough probable cause, but that they could pursue other means, you know, for this. And I believe they're going to pursue those other means. I don't think for a second that they're going to let that go. I think that if you have any notoriety, or let me just say, if you are a public figure and you are involved in anything that that's like boots on the ground with the Minnesota stuff, they're gonna come for you. I believe that. I really do. So I see why he went ahead and got a lawyer to you know, to help him with what he got going, because they're gonna definitely come for him. I don't doubt that one. I sure don't. Lou says, oh, this is the next part of the quote. Okay, we get into character. I would rather you just say thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a pow and stand a post. Either way, hold on. Either way, I don't give a bleep what you think you are entitled to. Okay, that's also from a few good men, Colonel Jessup, giving his statement on the stand. Thank you for these quotes. I appreciate that. I need to I need to get the clip and play it on one of these live streams. Yes. Okay, so KG Casper said, and just a side note, in North Carolina, we go to church armed to the teeth. All right. That's a safe state then, huh? Yes, honey. Look, I need to go and get me some lessons at the range. Yes. That's what I need to do. So Mr. Lula, so that was Colonel Jessup. Thank you, sir. Thank you for pulling that for me. Jerry Lee Farmer says it's the Democrat appointee judges that working against the American people. Okay. Put that on here. It's the Democratic judges, the Democratic appointee judges that working against the American people. Okay, so you're saying that I guess the judges that rejected the DOJ thing for Don Lemon, those were Democratic appointee judges, is what I think I'm getting from that. Okay. But sounds like they're gonna probably come with something a little bit more stringent, a little bit more ironclad, is what I'm thinking. So we got KG Casper saying Don Lemon's immunity under the First Amendment as a journalist went away the second he stepped up to the pulpit and started preaching his particular brand of rhetoric. Now, KG Casper, I ain't know he did that. He went up there to the pulpit and said something. I did not know that. I did not. I did not. I need to go see the video of what he actually did at this church. I haven't seen the video. Well, I guess I saw one, but I didn't see him going to the pulpit. But it was only, you know, less than a minute, you know? That's crazy. So Auntie Stella said they didn't go there to talk. If that was the reason, they should have called and made arrangements to see him, not go during services like that. I agree with you on that. That's what I'm saying. I was perplexed. And so why would you go to this man's church service trying to talk to him or see about him? Like, I remember there was a story about a year or so ago. And these people, I don't know, was it in California? It was somewhere. And these people went to this woman's house. They went to her home. And I think that they had tried to knock on the door, and the husband had the pow. I forgot what it was about. But it kind of reminds me of that. Not quite the same, but my point is you got people coming to things that are outside of your political work situation, trying to bring it there. They done went to the man church trying to do all that. That's a bit much. That's a bit much now. That's a lot much. Not a bit. That's a lot. So Auntie Stella said, Amen, KG. Then KG Casper said, thank you for the support. All my friends in the chat. I try and make sense when I can. I know that's right. So all things Key Nicole said, I gotta start this live over. Somebody always calling me. Then I be so lost on what we talking about. Thank you, girl. I appreciate your support. Right now, we're talking about what happened yesterday in Minnesota, and then we talked about that earlier. Now we're talking about the whole Don Lemon thing. So the people here, the people in the chat family, they know what's going on. So I'm getting caught up in real time with them. So then we got Lou saying, all right, at STEM. Hold on, let me see that. All right, at STEM, I think everybody should, quote unquote, stop, collaborate, and listen. ICE is back with a brand new invention. Okay, Lou. I'm sure you found I'm sure that's a quote somewhere, right? That's a quote, right? So Jerry Lee Farmer says, God says we can kill a lot of things, but we shall not kill his image. A man is created in God's image. Yeah. So KG Casper says the range is what we do after church, and then we go to IHOP. Okay. Or Waffle House. Okay. I prefer Waffle House myself. Lou says icicle snowflakes. Okay. Then all things Key Nicole says, KG, I'm crying laughing. Yes. So Auntie Stella says that was okay. Don Lemon was a publicity stunt. Okay. It sounded like that to me, honestly. Like, definitely got some people's attention, got mine, even though I haven't seen that video. But yeah, definitely was done to make a statement for sure. Then we got Lou saying, laugh out loud, AKG Casper, not IHOP. Why not Waffle House? They go to either one, Lou. They go to IHOP or the Waffle House. Okay, Jerry Lee says, thank you all for having me here. I must go for now. Jerry Lee, thank you so much for stopping by and supporting the channel. Anytime, anytime. Glad you were able to stop by and hang out with me. So we got Auntie Stella saying, KG, you need a pow pow when you eating at Waffle House. KG Casper said he did the smiles with the hearts to Nicole. That's all things Key Nicole, y'all. KG Casper said, ain't that the truth? Auntie Stella, you're the best. That's what KG said. And then we have Lord, you know it, saying at STEM, snowflake, baby, laughing in tears. Auntie Stella says, KG Waffle House always on TikTok fighting day or night, shaking my head. Yes, y'all. Well, that is all that I had for today. Let me see what else I got here. KG says sometimes it's just fun to go watch the drama, and you can always find that at the Waffle House. Yes, I love getting the waffle with the sausage patty. Yeah, that's my go-to at the Waffle House. Yes. Yes, it is. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for being here. We had some interesting people that came through the chat and everything, but it was all in good taste, good fun, if you will. And I'm glad we were all able to say what we wanted to say and speak freely. You know what I'm saying? No judgment zone over here. And like I said, I'm here to learn and chit chat and all those things, right? So if you have not done so, please like the live stream. Please support the channel too if you don't mind, okay? I really appreciate that. What we got here in the comments? Let me see what all things Nicole that came back in here with. Okay, what did she say? She said, I do not be tuned into the streets. I be having real life stuff going on. I said, Tip Channel that got me tuned all up in the folks' business. Girl, who you telling? When you told me to go look up that situation with Kendra G and Corey Holcomb, I'm like, I didn't know what I was gonna find, but it was interesting. Hold on, we got Auntie Stella saying, thank you, sweetie. Enjoy a reasonable influencer today. Thank you, ma'am. You welcome back anytime. Come back and check me out. Yes. Lou says, laugh out loud. Not Snowflake. Ice Ice Baby. That was from the song Laugh Out Loud. Oh, you know, I don't be knowing. Thank you, Ice Ice Baby. KG Casper said, stuff is real down here. I know that's right. KG Casper said, bye, Jeremy. Have a great day. You too. I enjoyed y'all. I did. When I decided to do this live stream for this snow day, I said, well, they may not be interested in anything. And I knew I wanted to talk about the whole thing that happened yesterday. And it was a good conversation. It was. I learned a lot. It was entertaining and everything. But yeah, like I said, if you have not done so, please like the live stream, support the channel by subscribing. Appreciate all that. I am gonna be live again today at 6:30 for my realign and reset live, where I'm talking about goals and things like that. And we can still chat and have a good time on there too. Okay, I may not have any videos or anything like that, but yeah, check me out. And so if you catch the replay, please make sure that you put something in the comments for me. And with that, I'm going to log off, but I will see you on the next live stream or video. And you all stay warm and have a blessed day. Bye.